All right. Good morning. My name remains Collins Amadi. The continuation of what we talked about yesterday, the four cardinal areas that every rich and powerful person strives to develop, which is what gives them an edge, which is what they wouldn't even want those on the streets to know. We'll be doing some expository of such knowledge, continuation of it today. We talked about their spiritual nature yesterday, which was the first thing we talked about, that it shows to develop their spiritual nature. First of all, through listening to that deep, still, small voice inside of them, which is their conscience. The second thing they do is they strive to develop their mental power through having a focused vision. Straight to the point, one major part of them that they develop is their vision. Very, very important. Albert Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Memory is past, it is finite. Vision is future. That's the truth. It is infinite and greater than history. When we talk about vision, it's important to consider not only the vision of what is possible out there, but also the vision of what we see in other people, their latent potential. Vision is about more than just getting things done or achieving some great task. It's also about improving on our views of others and affirming their worth. You can have vision about someone. It doesn't have to be just about yourself or about what you think you can do for yourself and your family alone. This aspect of vision was what moved the Secretary of the United States of America, Hillary Clinton, of the Barack Obama administration, when she tried to communicate to us during her tour in Nigeria in August 2009. She said that wasn't a vision that is supposed to achieve something. It's a vision in the belief in the capacity of someone else, which is also a very important part of vision. I don't know if you get that cliche. To cultivate the habit frequently communicating and affirming your belief system is very, very important. It is, especially in people's lives. There are lots of unbelievable results that people can achieve with little effort. All they need is just for them to have someone who believes in them, communicates that belief system in them, and that's why we should be lucky. For some countries like America, they communicated their belief in us, in our potential, even when we didn't believe in ourselves through that woman, and that was a very strong point. As I moved on, I began to realize that my nature actually is to confront challenges, and if I'm not getting them, I go for them. Wild thoughts began to creep into me as the days passed by. Thoughts that really can push me to create something of my own and take to the world. That is very, very people call it crazy. Well, those are part of the benefits of going inwards yourself and listening to yourself, and also striving to connect your mind to your heart. Like I said, the first thing should be our spiritual nature, because if your conscience is not well developed, some crazy, very, very crazy thoughts can come to you when you start developing your mental nature. You'd see that there is practically nothing you cannot do. Whatever it is that you can think about, you can achieve. And it is important that you think about things that are hinged on good spiritual foundation. So you see why that balance is very, very important. The internet revolution is a very nice thing that has ever happened to humanity, because it encourages fast communication, and that's all man needs to survive in these great times of change. But it can also be misused. I hope you don't get that wrong. There are lots of things that we need to talk about when it comes to mental mind development. This is also the time you also face the challenge of getting resources to give whatever it is that you've conceived in privacy, to give it out. But when you can win the battle in you and be able to gather resources for giving it out and actually give it out, you must have lived a very fulfilled life. And then you can move on to higher one and expect a miracle, because man is by nature resilient. The first time will definitely be difficult. in everything. The foster will definitely be quicker. But as the saying goes in geographical statements, the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. The higher you go, the cooler you will tend to be more gentle and full of love, as you go higher, because you have discovered the wonderful love of life. Each soul becomes precious to you, because just by understanding a soul, you open up yourself for another lovely, great adventure. This is the real purpose of life, the climax of it all. We just have to strive to make sure that those parts of us are very, very important. Then the third thing that they try to do also, that every rich, truly rich and powerful person, not those who get rich by, I just don't want to get to those points, but I'm talking about the truly rich and powerful, who have true moral authority, made so many impacts in the generation of life, like people like Mahatma Gandhi, people like Abraham Lincoln, lots of them, Mandela of South Africa. We have lots of them that we can actually look into their lives and understand these things. Like I said, the first point is that they try to develop their spiritual nature, which we talked about, which is the conscience. The second part is the mental part of them, which is their mindset, the way they think, through having a focused vision. It doesn't have to be just things. Like I said, it can also be humans. You can actually have faith in people. You can actually have vision of where you want people to be in years to come. And that's a very, very worthy vision. It takes more effort than actually having a vision to make things, physical things, manifest. And then the third part is that they develop their emotional powers. Don't forget, like I said, every human being has four parts. What you're seeing right now is my physical nature. I have a spiritual nature too, which is here, my conscience, how I see life. And I have an emotional nature too, which is how I feel, how someone makes me feel, how I feel towards some things, especially in relation to other human beings around me. Yeah, and then the fourth one is how eventually we'll get to that point. Let me not rush through that. Now let's talk about the third one. They try to develop their emotional powers. You might ask me, what is emotional power? Well, unknown to a lot of us, emotional power is becoming the hottest topic in world-based corporate practices because of its high importance. No relationship, no business. No relationship, no business. Bad relationship, bad business. One's ability to love another person unconditionally with no strings attached is becoming increasingly relevant. I mean, you've heard stories about the bank MD that was involved in a sex scandal with their mother seller's daughter in the bank coffers. It is possible to have 90% on IQ tests and a 5% on EQ test. EQ is emotional quotient test. IQ is intelligent quotient test. It's very, very, very possible for you to see someone who has a very high IQ, but a very low EQ. We are actually not seeing most of these things right now. Even in churches these days, you've seen some of the scandals coming from most of the religious leaders, even in churches, in mosques, through rape cases and stuff like that. Rape cases happen. It's more prevalent. Men who rape are men who have very low EQ. Should I stand out again? Men who rape are men who have very low emotional quotient. I don't know if you get that drift. If your EQ is even not very high, on an average level, you should be able to know how someone feels, know how to approach someone, and actually blend with someone's feelings. Another word for it is empathy, but I wouldn't want to use that word empathy because it's another topic on its own, but that's another word closest to what I'm trying to emphasize here. If you're actually empathic towards your neighbor, you would know how they feel about some things. And like someone said, Do unto others what you'd love to be done to you. There are so many books dedicated to this topic. Look for them. Look for them. For me, in this period of my life, what seemed most difficult to me was mending my broken relationships I had in the past. Most things that I wanted to do could be more effective and faster if I had good relationships. The rules says that 80% of my fulfillment and happiness comes from 20% of my relationships, and that's very right. It's very, very clear that that's how it should be. If we know that, if we actually value our relationships, you would know that most of the things that you achieve will be done through people who you communicate with on a frequent level. Emotional power. We will still dig deep into that topic. But the last thing that the rich and powerful actually try to develop on a daily basis too is that they also prefer solutions. They prefer solutions to community problems. Everybody who has built a great wealth, everybody who has done something very good, started from service, started from execution, started from looking at his or her environment. Talk about Mother Teresa, talk about lots of them. They looked at the environment and they checked how can they make it better, what can they do to improve their environment and to create the kind of environment they would love to see. That's one thing every rich and powerful person thinks about. They don't even think about it. They act it subconsciously. They get to the point where it becomes second nature to them. They look at the environment. All they think about, all they see about, all they see whenever they look at the environment is how to make it better, how to make it better, how to make it better. Discipline is the executing, the making it happen, the sacrifice entailed in doing whatever it takes to realize your vision. That's just the simple truth. The rich and powerful don't just do positive thinking. They actually talk and work reality. They live it. When we talk about Robin Hood for those in the Western world and any Friday for those in Nigeria, all we see in them are people who rob from the rich and give to the poor, and we immediately pass on judgment on them as hero robbers. But there is something good to learn from these guys. We who feel we are underdeveloped or not rich can actually learn from those who are developed by working for them and bringing home their experiences, not stealing from them. Knowledge is greater than money, and it is free to whoever seeks it diligently. I will tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about an Indian houseman. The story was told of an Indian houseman who really felt the pain of hardship his country was going through, and decided to do something about it, which is a very noble thing to do. He traveled all the way to the United States and got himself a job as a house help to a very renowned national scientist. He spent 10 years in his place as a house help, but actually what he was actually doing was gathering all useful information for living a developed life. He was studying, he was doing personal development, he was studying on how he can develop himself. While his master goes busy in his laboratory experimenting, he goes busy by studying and learning on how to live a very effective life. After 10 years had elapsed and he felt he has acquired enough knowledge, he gave up his job and traveled back to his country. Now, 5 years later, the National Convention was called upon for all nations. Lo and behold, the scientist was there representing his country. And to his utter dismay, his houseboy was also in this conference with him, representing his own country. He couldn't believe his eyes. So the houseboy went up to him and said, "Sir, it's a great pleasure to see you here, and do not be surprised to see me here too. For while I was at a place, I focused on working for knowledge so I can export it to my underdeveloped nation. And today, knowledge I acquired is the best thing that has ever happened to my nation. And I was immediately told to represent my nation as a grand pioneer. Thank you so much for the opportunity. But in the meantime, let's get back to the meeting. The one that's the right knowledge can create is just too inexhaustible. We talk about democracy. Democracy is all about freedom, not clustering together, looking up to a particular group of people to live our life for us or make our most important decisions for us. And what is freedom? It is the ability to just do what we want to do and bear the consequences responsibly, good or bad, as long as you respect the rights of the society. No long thing about that. In trying to make the most of your financial life in these fast changing times, doing things only for the right reasons isn't just enough. Understanding the market you want to operate in is to be considered first. You can have the right reasons, even the right purpose, but understanding the market will surely make a difference to next place. That's another part of them that they try to develop. They also another part, which is the fifth part, is that they don't search for the right certificates. They search for the right knowledge. That's the fifth thing that they try to do. The rich and powerful. You see those who are not truly rich and powerful, you see them scampering, rushing to most universities to get PhD, MSc, this and that. Well, the truly rich and powerful know they don't have time to start chasing that, because that's history. That's the truth. They look at their world and then they see how they can make it better. They know, they believe, and they know that mentors come before outward success. The purpose of schooling is to empower students with acquired knowledge, and that's to be used in building the person in all areas: the person's family, the person's relationships, the society the person lives in, and humanity at large. But what we get to see these days is the complete opposite of this. Most youths go to school with the intention to learn, to steal from companies they will eventually work with, and also to learn how to devour, exploit and tear down organizations instead of building them up, all to satisfy their personal selfish motives. The evidence of this thing I'm saying can be seen in the increased number of credit card fraud, especially in the late part of 2009, not 19, 2009 in Nigeria, after the CBN induced mass sacking of bank workers because of our sanitization exercise in the country. It proved that most of them were actually not there to build. This was part of my motive for wanting to graduate with a good grade in school, to come out and hunt for high-paying jobs, until God miraculously put in a stumbling block for me through my own desire, so that I could not even concentrate. I got to understand that moral education is the foundation of every great academic education, such that builds humanity and the human person involved. I needed to educate myself, and in this process I made great discoveries about myself, which was what the school system never taught me. We need to understand that education is more than just filling a child with facts. It actually starts with posing questions. Ask questions. Well, that's all to school for now, but continuous learning is key. This might sound a bit weird to you, but if you always have a desire for what is right, maybe you understand what I mean. And only then will you see life-threatening problems. In my family, when we discovered the right way to live, problems started rushing in as though a door has been opened for it. But if you persist and you don't give up in your search for knowledge of what is right, you will overcome. You can choose to stand out and do the right thing. Your influence will surely be powerful, because you will be one in a million. You will grow to have disciples. We still have lots of things we still talk about the things that they try to develop, but I think I should also try and do one more justice to this last point, which is that they define their roles and they set their goals. In order to make great choice, I had to start prioritizing the use of my time. What activities should take most of my time? Before I decide that, I need to define my roles, whether in my family, in my religious organizations, in my community, or in my workplace. For example, if I'm an individual, just like I am, I can have an individual role or set a goal for myself as an individual, to have personal development, activities for myself on a daily basis. Train myself, my body, physically. 30 minutes on a daily basis. Workout. Do my press ups. Work up the leg muscles because of my heart, so I could live long and enjoy my kids. That's my individual vision, and it attracts a discipline, which can also be called a sacrifice. Until I pay the price of that sacrifice, I will not reap the benefit of that vision. I don't know if you understand that. Then, as a husband too, I have to know things I should do on a daily basis to improve that goal, that role, that vision every day. As a father too, there are some things I have to do as a father. As a son, there are things I need to do as a son too. As a manager, there are things I have to do. The manager of a new product, there are things I have to personally do. As an author of a book, there are things I have to do. I have to devote, even if it's 15-20 minutes on a daily basis, to write down something. Over time, it compiles up. As a real estate salesperson, I have to do something on that every day to make sure I sell some of the houses in my care. As a senator, there are things I have to do to make sure that I move my community forwards through bringing up great ideas and making sure they are enforced into law. As Sunday school teacher, there are things I have to do. As a friend, there are things I have to do. As a brother, there are things I have to do. As a chairman of Catalyst Group, there are things I have to do. As the president of Nigeria, there are things I have to do. These are basic things. If you understand your role, first of all, starting from yourself as a person, as an individual, then you move to your roles. Make sure you work on them every day, even if it's 30 minutes. Devote 30 minutes to reading. Devote 30 minutes to working out. Devote 30 minutes to calling your family members, talking to your son, playing with your child, like 1 hour. Communicating with your wife. Give it time. Deep communication. Your mom, your siblings, talk to them. Your friends, your colleagues at work. If you're a manager, your employees, you talk to them. You make sure you form a bond with them on a daily basis. You develop yourself, add value to yourself every day. These are the things that when you do, you understand. You would have understand the greatest key in life, which is adaptation. Adaptation is not easy at all. It is not easy. When you adapt, you would succeed more. It takes a great deal of discipline to keep the promises we've made to ourselves. As an author, I set aside 4 hours each day to write, but there are some days it doesn't seem like coming. Those days that normally writers would call popularly called writer's block. But what do? I can easily adapt and attend to other goals I've set up for myself, and this calls for wisdom. If not, you'll find yourself drifting and doing things that need your attention but aren't important. You find yourself following the path to mediocrity. I would continue this podcast on what we actually impact on our lives if we follow the footsteps of the rich and powerful, the basic things that they do every day. We've talked about some of these things, which I've broken down for you. We started from the spiritual nature, where we talked about developing the conscience. We talked about the mental part, their mind, how they choose to develop their mind through having a focused vision. We talked about the fact that they define their roles and their goals. They set their goals very well, and they define everything accordingly, and they make sure they devote the time to act and execute on those things that they have as their roles. We've talked about what they actually look for. They don't search for the right certifications. Instead, they look for how to impact on the society, how to help their community. Then we also gave some examples on how important discipline is important towards setting providing solutions to issues around the community and stuff like that. we'll continue this podcast until we break down eventually everything that the truly rich and powerful do on a daily basis that has brought them to where they are currently. Then at the end of it all, I'll do a summary to make a quick one so that you understand. But it's good that we'll break it down in bits like that. And I hope you're following this podcast, because the truth is, if you subscribe to this channel on Renovational Minds with my brothers too, who are presenting too with me in this same channel, and you listen to these things that we say, you would understand that there are so many things that we expose in these sessions. These are practical things that we've lived through in this country, Nigeria and Africa. People always say that it's difficult to make it in Nigeria, and it's quite different. What works in the Western world doesn't work in Nigeria. Well, like I said, I set out myself to prove that wrong. I actually said no. If someone in Canada throws up a stone and it falls down, and someone in South Africa throws up a stone and it falls down, and someone in the United States throws up a stone and it falls down, and why can't I throw that same stone here up and it will fall down in Nigeria? I do that, and I see that practically is the same thing. So principles generally they are not a factor of who you are. They are not a factor of where you're born. They are not a factor of your geographical location. They are not a factor of your religious status. They are not a factor of your color. They are not a factor of your social status. They are not a factor of whether you are rich or poor. They are not a status of whether you are I don't know, incapacitated in one part of your body or the other. You're not a factor of that. Principles are like a lighthouse. They stand no matter what it is. They stand. They are a pointer to directions. And if you end up doing those things that every other person in the world have done, would get the same result. If I do exactly what McDonald's have done to get to where he is today, I would get the same result McDonald's got. If I do what Mark Zuckerberg has done, I would get the same result as he has gotten, if not better. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Dangote. If I do the same thing that those men have done, I would get the same result. Mahatma Gandhi, Mandela. If I do these same things that this man has done, Mother Teresa, Queen Diana, I would get the same results that these people have gotten. So it's about choosing our battles, choosing what to face, and going after those things. We are regular guys here in this country. Yes, we're making it happen. It might not be your pop normal stars, but we're making it happen in this country. Just stay tuned. Like I said, just all we need is let the message go far. Subscribe to our channel. Like our pages, spread the word, invite friends, comment. That would really give us more courage to come out and do these videos, these podcasts, things that normally we will talk about in closets. We'll come out and say to the world, so that every other person can benefit from these things. And we also hope that you will join this crusade too, and also come out, make some of your videos too, and send to us. Make videos on different topics, different things you want to talk about, things you know that you've actually worked on them and they've worked for you, and there are practical evidences to show that those things have worked for you. Please come out and talk about those things and send us the video. You can send the videos to us, renovationalminds@gmail.com, or you send a DM to us at renovationalminds on IG, or you send a message on YouTube, Renovational Minds. Send a message to our page on YouTube requesting for the details of where to send in your videos, and we'll reply immediately, so you can send in your videos so we can post these videos online and let people learn and watch. We just want to be very vulnerable. Vulnerability is key here. We need to be as vulnerable as possible, because there are lots of fake lives right now. People come out to claim what they are not. People say what they can't do, but we need to be very vulnerable. We need to be free with ourselves. That's the only way change can come in. That's the only way we can grow. Thank you very much for sticking to this. 30 minutes podcast. It's a long one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your staying and listening to this. I hope to also be here for you and also to listen to you too when you do yours. Thank you very much, and expect to hear from me the completion of this series. Bye. Till next time. See ya. Peace out.